Welcome to the NotSoAvg Podcast. I'm your host, Jose Garcia, aka NotSoAvg Jose. And tonight I have my boy, Adam from Nerd901.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. We were just before starting the podcast segment of the stream. For those of you who don't know, I am doing the podcast live. We do it on stream. We do a bit of like video reactions at first. Then 30 minutes in, start the podcast. Towards the end, if anyone has questions you want to drop throughout the podcast in the Twitch chat, drop them. We'll do our best to answer the questions as long as they're not bad questions, as in like inappropriate. And I forgot what I was going to say right after that. I don't know why, because I normally forget to like introduce that part and then I say it like halfway through. Anyway, today I kind of want to talk with Adam about a couple specific things.
Oh,
including and I didn't warn him about any of it, so
no, I don't know what we're talking about.
No. The first thing is, how did you feel about our St. Jude play live this year and finally being able to do the in-person stuff again with the group?
As far as the entire campaign is concerned, absolutely blown away. We raised over $7,700. That was fantastic. The team did amazing. Huge props to Blurb Without Fear. He held us on our shoulders and was like, "Good job, kids," with his 5,000.
Yeah,
like
he really did.
but very grateful for him for doing some fundraising during the Blurred Cave. So he and Carter killed it with that. Absolutely fantastic. Like getting to do 2 streams in person again with the group was emotional after being at home for like a year. It was like I had seen you like once or twice, but only briefly, like drop something off to you or something like that. And then like, we're masked and everything. And I hadn't seen Ernie in like 18 months.
Holy shit.
Yeah, maybe 15. I'd give it 15 because I had seen him at the very end of February 2020 when we did the photo shoot at La Bonheur.
Oh, yeah.
It was literally the last day of February that I saw him. We were going to do that stream in person, like the board game stream in person. I think it was in March.
Yeah, because in March is when I got the house, and
it's when shit started shutting down.
Yeah, I had enough stuff in here to start doing stuff in the like dining room, and that's where we set up the board game stream, and everyone was here except you because
that was when
you have to be a responsible parent.
Yeah, with my son being type 1 diabetic, I had to be more cautious than everybody else. So yeah, that killed me to not be there, but I watched it and was in chat and whatnot. So that was a good time. But yeah, getting to see your house was, granted, again, I saw it a couple times beforehand, but like getting to hang out there for an extended period of time, and we hung out more than everybody else did because we did the setup.
Yeah, so we met up the day before twice.
Yeah, and was there for hours.
Yeah, and
setting up and dicking around.
I think the one before the 12-hour, we even like ate pizza and watched My Hero.
Yeah, yes, we did.
It was good.
We were like, well, let's go ahead and just watch My Hero. But yeah, so that was really great. I loved being there in person again. It was really cool to have like the fun set up and to be able to like do these incentives with each other and play games with each other, aside from being over Discord and online, because 2020/2021 is the most, hands down, that I have ever played multiplayer games with other people. Or sorry, because I'm normally a single player guy. And like we've all played multiplayer games together like occasionally before, but we were like at least once a weekend, almost every weekend.
Yeah, we were playing Valheim
for like a year.
Yeah, no, we went through a bunch of games too.
Yeah, we put the most time in Remnant.
Yes,
because Remnant is dope, and everyone should play Remnant from the Ashes. Go play that game.
And it was free on PS5 for a while. Well, PS4.
Yeah, it was free on PS. It was on free on PS Plus for a bit. Yep. You know, free whatever. But it was that game's dope. Yeah, we played a lot of Valheim. Ernie Blurred Without Fear. He put a ton of time into Valheim.
I know. He even set up our server and everything.
Yeah, something was going on to where I wasn't like super free. I think Ashton was busy with school or something, and I wasn't super free on the weekend days. But like he was putting in tons of time on the weekdays, and so like we'd come on the weekends, he'd be like, "What the hell just happened?"
I know, place? Like a whole new
when did we get a castle
built out? Yeah. So
like, it was dope.
He's like, "Oh, we skipped a couple of like ages. We're in the like Stone Age now."
Yeah, he got real deep into DBD, Dead by Daylight for anybody. We played it some. I'm terrible at that game.
Me too.
So
especially against
I didn't play it as much. We played a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3, but that game's still in development, so it's super buggy.
Yeah, I played it one time.
Yeah, it'll be. They've already started introducing like new races and stuff, and so that'll be fun. Some Hunt Showdown. We dabbled in Left 4 Dead. We got just destroyed in World War Z.
We also got destroyed in Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, we got destroyed in Left 4 Dead too. Phasmophobia. We jumped on that train with everybody else. Same with Among Us. Some of us played a little bit of Second Extinction.
Yeah, I didn't play that.
That was pretty much it. We put a ton of time into those few games. I don't think any of us... We may have played Destiny at the very beginning of the year.
I think we did just a little bit, and then we're like, okay.
It's like the very, very, very beginning of 2020 was when I started playing a lot of games with you and Gold.
True.
Because the three of us started linking up basically as the pandemic was starting. So, there's that.
Played Fall Guys.
Yeah, we did. I didn't even look on console. Yeah, Fall Guys and we also played Fortnite a good bit.
And we were good at it as a team.
Yeah, we were surprisingly good at Fortnite. What did you say?
I said as a team we were pretty good, and then we played apart and we're like, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe we just play as a team. Yeah. So.
Or maybe
that was cool.
In most games, Ernie was carrying us, and he just wouldn't let us know.
I don't know. I'm actually pretty good at Fortnite.
No, I know. I mean, I think as a team, we play well together. We're like, okay, without having to say how we each play, we understand how we each play.
Yeah.
Because y'all know that I'll separate from the group.
You can go exploring.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it counts, I'm right there.
Yeah, exactly. You were always like, come over here and like, pow, pow, pow. So, that was cool. We played a good bit of that. There's a bunch of games still that I want to jump into. We also all played our own single player games. People got busy with work, life, all that stuff.
Yeah, especially once businesses started picking up again. Yeah. I haven't been able to play much. And when I've been able to play, I don't always want to.
I feel you. That'll happen, yeah. But yeah, so that was really great. Like I said, very emotional to see everybody. Obviously, I had seen my brother. I hadn't. Same thing with Ernie. I hadn't seen Katie in forever, so it was great to see Katie and Chris.
The last time I saw them was when they came over, I think.
Yeah,
board game stream.
Yeah, and like I said, I saw Ernie's face over Discord and all that stuff, but it's not the same.
No, it's
it's not the same as being there. Like we all have an energy that like is different for each one of us, but we feed off of each other.
Mm-hmm. And I think you can if you want to go check that out, like it's still in the VODs, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Especially when we were playing Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Oh yeah. Just fucking with each other. Yeah, like it's like, you know, as far as like energy levels are concerned, like Ernie's like a supernova. He's just like huge energy and excitement. Nick's pretty close to right under there, like a red giant or something. And then you and I, yeah, we're like these two, like, you know, dwarf binary stars just kind of circling each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little nerd science joke there. But yeah, it was dope. I want to do it again, and you know, we've all talked about, you know, doing some hangout sessions like off stream and stuff like that. Yeah. So that'll be fun because we're talking about like, you know, going and, you know, just having a cookout at somebody's house or something. Oh God, Pika. We hadn't seen Pika in forever, and she dropped in really almost unannounced.
I think the last time we had seen her was at the
2019 Extra Life. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it was really like December instead of November of 2019, but still, it was 2019 is the last time we saw her in person. But you know, we're all going to try to get together for like a cookout, and yeah, because we're all vaccinated and all that stuff. So we're going to do that, and you know, Ernie wants to get together for some board games, and so I think if we have the right board game, we can get you involved.
Oh yeah. So I've honestly been more and more interested in D&D lately because I started listening to a One Piece one.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, and I had listened to it for a little while, then I fell into it again recently because, like I've told you, I've been working on a story for like over 10 years, and lately I feel like I've had a massive breakthrough on some ideas, including what I sent you last night.
That was good, by the way.
And I told someone at work about that idea, and they're like, "Were you on crack when you thought of this?" Because so one of the ideas that I'm working with is connecting La Llorona, that would go around yelling "mis hijos," my kids, because like in different iterations.
So I'm unfamiliar with that.
There's multiple versions.
God.
Yes,
I googled
it's
it.
Terrible.
That was a terrible idea.
So there are multiple iterations. One of the most common ones that I've heard is basically
roams the waterfront mourning her drowned children. Fuck that.
So the thing is, she supposedly drowned her own children because her husband was cheating on her. Yeah. And then immediately regrets it.
Of course.
And then goes and like drowns herself.
Okay.
And then she like came back after getting to like Heaven's Gate and being asked, "Where are your kids?" and having been denied passage, she returns to like our plane of existence, and she roams around like yelling, crying out, "Mis hijos," my kids. And in different versions, like she's married to a conquistador, like a very specific one. So I was thinking about using that to bring over someone from like a Slavic country that's a witch, like pretty much in Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
And because the Baba Yaga is basically a witch, not the witch how we think of like now with pointy hat on Halloween riding around on a broom.
Yeah, the commercialized witch.
Yeah, what they actually used to fly around in are mortar and pestles, and it's when you think about it, it's a really weird. But the reason they did that, especially if you think about Hansel and Gretel kidnapping kids and grinding them up, like on the spot. Yeah, no, it's terrible. But
it's like Krampus.
Yes, and they fly around in the mortar. Broom. Yes.
Just sitting in this like
in like
kid
a big mortar
grinding thing.
And
gross.
So if she's riding around in it, how is that not a UFO?
Yeah, that's true. It is an unidentified flying object.
And I imagine
that grinds up your children.
Magic has some kind of glow because most magic does.
Yeah, usually magic has like those effects or whatever in
so
shows and whatnot.
You see lights, a glowing thing flying by. That's a UFO. You could have been seeing witches. So I also want to add the aspect of like maybe that connecting with like a UFO. And,
that'd be pretty cool.
So somehow that specific witch made it to dang, my light was leaning back.
With that tape. Mine won't move now.
Oh, I think my tape got like heated, so it got a little soft after a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I need to fix that. But it shouldn't be too big of a problem. But what was I saying? So she
UFOs.
somehow, yes. So the witch, probably some type of immortal, right? As long as she's like consuming kids, makes
consuming
it to like
ground up
Spain.
children. Yes.
Yes. She somehow.
So she's a guac fan. She's like
probably
child
salsa.
guac.
I mean more salsa because it's red.
It ruined salsa, Jose.
I definitely use tomatoes and peppers. What are their bones? Don't worry about it.
What are these white chips?
What's the chunky stuff?
Oh no!
But yeah, she makes it to Spain, travels to Mexico with conquistadors, and eventually, like, say she marries one because she can maybe like change her appearance. Because up to a certain extent, like, witches can usually change their appearance to like seem like beautiful and then trick their victims. And once they've got them where they want them, they usually reveal how ugly they look or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's how she marries the conquistador. And it's the first time she's actually like fallen in love. And she's happy. They have kids. She's like, this might not be too bad a life. But then he goes and cheats on her. Yes. And she starts, in his eyes, acting irrationally. So he's like, you know what? Fuck that. Fuck these kids. And these kids would have been immortal too had they made it past a certain age like she did. They would have been the only companions she had. And he took that away from her.
Oh.
And also now she talks Spanish because she's in Mexico. So she can go around saying Misios.
She learned Spanish. Look, she was she traveled around Europe, left the Slavic countries, went to Spain, learned some Spanish, met a conquistador, then went over. And then, which, like, that's a pair right there. A witch and a conquistador. Like, morally, not a great pair.
No. Both pretty destructive.
Yeah, very.
And
anyway, sorry.
Also, like, the whole idea behind, like, Hansel and Gretel and Baba Yaga is to kind of, like, scare children to behave. And that's the idea also with, like, if you don't behave, La Llorona's gonna come get you. So I was like, it'd be really funny to like tie those things in because I think I was like in middle school when I told my mom one time because I was studying in a Catholic school theology. I was like, it's really weird how so many things like convert from like mythology to religion and back and forth and like it's
you had to make people believe somehow, so you got to readapt the stories.
Yep. Like
why do you think Christmas is in December? Jesus was very likely born in the summer.
Yeah.
According to like star signs and everything. Winter solstice festival.
I remember hearing like March, but yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Spring or summer.
Yeah.
So winter solstice festival. You got to get the Romans on somehow.
Yep.
Surprise! It's Jesus' birthday now.
And the like Romans modified so many things for themselves.
Oh yeah.
Including like, did you know that a lot of the imagery for the Virgin Mary actually came from, I think it was Athena?
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, oh, she's also supposed to be a virgin? I don't think so. The only virgin in our book is Mary. Mm-hmm. So let's change all her imagery. You're just gonna over.
That statue's Athena? Nope, it's Mary now.
Yep. I thought that because I've just been like deep diving into mythology because I'm like, at this point, I might.
There's a lot that's like readapted to like basically pacify people. So.
Yes, including the world serpent with Nordic mythology. How it's supposed to be that and Ragnarok are a sign of like the beginning of a new cycle, renewal, all of that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people just hear Ragnarok, they're like, oh, it's the world coming to an end. It's like, yes, but it's more of a reboot.
Yeah, it's like somebody rebooted the world. And then yes, it kills all the gods, but still.
Yeah. And then you have in Aztec mythology, Quetzalcoatl.
Is that how you say that?
There's multiple ways to say it. Quetzalcoatl, Quetzalcoatl.
Okay, I was gonna say because I always see it like with an AL at the end.
Yeah, but I think in Spanish it's just Quetzalcoatl. I think.
It's like basically in all RPGs, or not all RPGs. In a lot of RPGs, there's some form of, flying serpent, and they call it like Quetzalcoatl or Quetzalcoatlus or something like that, and. Like, what's the actual pronunciation of this word?
I don't know, but I think he looks badass as shit. But he's also known as the bringer of storms.
Yeah, also he's also normally lightning based in most games.
Yeah, and also is the god of fertility, usually bringing the rain after droughts and like renewal of crops. Corn was supposedly discovered by Quetzalcoatl when he turned into an ant. When he noticed that an ant had a grain of corn and they were trying to find a food source for the Aztec. And so he asked the ant, hey, where'd you find it? Then turned into an ant himself and followed him into this path that led to like a mountain full of corn. He was like, he took it back to the other gods and said, this is what we'll feed our people.
That's cool.
And so I was thinking, like, with the cycle of renewal with that, it kind of seems similar to, like, there could be ties, if not, like, they're the same serpent. No. Like, maybe related? Maybe. And so I've just been delving more and more into, like, there's a lot of stuff that's, like, similar, like Sasquatch, Bigfoot,
Swamp Ape.
Yep.
There's another one that's in like the Floridas or like South Alabama or something. There's several of them.
And then there's other stuff like damn, I forgot what the name of it is, and I don't know where my phone is. I have my notes on there.
What are you looking for?
My phone, but I guess it's downstairs or something. That's fine. It's supposed to be like a Canadian to northern US like thing that it's kind of like a werewolf, but it's not exactly into a wolf. Holy shit. But the thing is, different cultures have like the same idea. Someone could get cursed or bitten by that creature and then they also turn into that creature.
Yes.
But it wasn't like a werewolf, or a vampire. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, thing is, I thought it'd be really cool to make that someone in the like main group of characters that joins and is like, hey, I want to go kill the dude that cursed me. Using the power he gave me. Because the idea that I was running with is he gets cursed being tricked that it was a god giving him power so he could protect his people, but the cost was his people. So he got all this power for nothing, and now is just like has like a bloodlust.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to figure out like, hey, how can I like balance this in? And so like I've been thinking about more and more like a world, kind of taking the One Piece look at it, you know, how there's always different pieces moving and it always kind of matters. And
but yeah, I mean that's a great way to, you know, if you have the capability, it's a great way to start a story, because stories don't take place in, I mean they can, but like a good story has a world.
Yeah.
Or universe. Just depends.
Yeah, like there's always something happening even if the main characters are not involved. And they can still matter later on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the
world doesn't revolve around 5 people.
Yeah. So like one of the other things I was thinking about was like the main character's like rival character, because there are going to be like shonen-ish aspects to it. I just know there are. It's like one of my favorite like mediums, so I feel like it's,
that's to be expected.
Yeah. So like there's going to be a rival character, but I want him to be like dang it, from Jotunheim. They're not frost giants. They're usually mistaken just for frost giants. Jotuns.
Oh, Jotuns.
Yeah. I want him to be like that. Not a trickster like Loki, but can manipulate ice. Can't produce it himself, but can manipulate like liquid at a certain temperature and solid ice. And so he doesn't have like weapons he really uses. Like at one point he might get an axe, but I have a specific idea for why. But up until then, he'll just turn his like hands like this, and he'll have like some like ice ready to go, and he turns it into like 2 big claws that he can fight with.
That's cool.
I thought that was something a little different, because I didn't want him to be Iceman. I didn't want him to be Todoroki, because I feel like that's too easy to copy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are so many just like I can make ice characters.
Yes.
It's kind of one of those, I wouldn't call it a trope, but it's a very common superpower given to somebody in some in comics and whatnot.
But what I haven't seen since like early Naruto is when the dude that looks like a girl and everyone still kind of thinks is a girl, that does the mirrors and could like travel through them. Mm-hmm. My idea was like, oh, there's ice here. He can like move through the
mirror. Yeah.
I thought that would be like a cool idea to do with that. And also like trying to... What's up?
I was just going to say, not that this is like the pinnacle of truth, but like what you're referring to in as far as like from Jotunheim, God of War called the race of giants the Jotnar. Mm-hmm. J-O with the 2 O's, like umlaut, maybe that's called T-N-A-R. I don't know if that's like the real thing or they just made that up for that. But it can that consists of frost giants, stone giants, fire giants, and wolf giants. I don't know what wolf giants are.
I don't know.
But anyway,
so I'm thinking in this world, multiple religions / mythologies exist at once, and because of like how technology has evolved, less and less people rely on the gods, and so less people are believing in gods. And how gods even ascended to that was people were believing in them. And now
so belief gives them power.
Yeah, so these gods are no longer as strong as they once were. but they're still ridiculous. But people with technology and other stuff, magic, whatever, as long as it fits within the rules of the world, can actually take on gods.
Nice. What would be the... So, not to say that, not to question the idea, what's the purpose of them taking on gods?
So, gods usually in this world are clinging to people in political power. Because a lot of politicians, if you notice, are like, yes, I am Christian. And how many people do they gather just because of, like, I am this, not because of what they actually do?
Pardon the phrase, an ungodly amount.
Exactly.
There, not to get political, there are so many single issue voters in this country, such as, like, if you're Christian and you support abortion, support pro-life, you got their vote. Doesn't matter if you are pro killing people by ripping off their toes for stealing, it doesn't matter to them.
Anything political up to then.
Or if you did anything political up to then. If you have any qualifications, if you're a rapist, if you are not good for them financially, they don't care about that.
Exactly.
So,
like,
I'm not going to go on this right now, though.
No, but you pretty much nailed it on the head, like, where a lot of this kind of, like, that's pretty much like the enemy of the main characters.
All of us.
Yeah. The newer generations. Because it's all older generations that are doing that, really.
Oh, yeah. Man, you really should play Persona 5. That's like the whole
is it really?
Premise. Essentially, yeah. So essentially, like, the main characters are like, man, selfish adults are fucking up this world. We gotta fix it. That's the premise.
Honestly, the idea for the main characters is they have come to understand that the gods put themselves in a place of power and told people what to do to keep other people from getting any kind of power near theirs. They were constantly limiting, or, like, I guess putting a ceiling to everyone's potential, when in reality, with people were the ones who were advancing technology, not the gods. Gods were constantly doing stuff, actively, like, doing stuff to prevent that, because they wanted to stay in power. Eventually, like, it got beyond them, like, even with Icarus and making the wings. Like, I was saying, doing something with that. Later on, someone used his original idea and just didn't make it out of wax.
Yeah,
because otherwise the wings
made out
worked.
of metal or something.
Yeah, because
he flew.
The wings worked. He flew, but he just went too high.
It's like the message of Icarus is like, "Hey, don't innovate, you'll fall." It's like, no, he just used bad materials. He flew.
He had something. He was getting there.
Yeah, don't shit on it.
And so, like,
I realized that you couldn't, like, see my shirt. I was one with the chair, so I, like, changed the light a little bit so you could see me a little bit better. Sorry. Anyway.
No, you're good. But yeah, like, the main characters, like, realize that and find out that, hey, not all gods are like that. Not all of them are, like, asking for stuff in return. Yeah, like, they'll make deals with people and ask for stuff in return. There are certain ones that don't, and those, like, might have lent their power to some, like, characters in the world, and they're trying to do better, and they're not trying to claim it as their power. Or there's some that are going even further and being like, you know what? No one even believes in you. Try to take these powers back.
Yeah. Or you go catch these hands.
Exactly. And so there's going to be, like, multiple ways that essentially characters are going to be fighting the gods, like the Jotnar. My idea. Did I say it wrong?
I think it's Jotnar, N-A-R.
Oh, Jotnar.
Whether or not that's correct, I have no idea.
Potentially, he's gonna fight Thor.
Yeah.
In my story, and Thor isn't like Chris Hemsworth, or probably what they're gonna show in like God of War. Because
I think in God of War they're gonna show more like grizzled Viking-esque person as opposed to like Chris Hemsworth. So
I still think he'll lean more towards Chris Hemsworth than the version I'm thinking of, because I am thinking like older, grizzled, a man who was once a leader, but he's just like tired of this shit. And he's like, why am I even gonna throw hands? Yeah. Lightning, bitch. Like
let me just throw
it's
this
supposed
hammer.
to be stronger than his like physical strength, why not? He's like, at this point, I've developed it so much. Just point the hammer. Not even like with force. He just like interrogates someone like, hey, did you do this? Yes, no? You didn't give me an answer. Gone.
Boom. Gone.
Like a more ruthless, impatient. I think it'd be a more interesting way to do Thor. Because I explained it to one of my friends at work, and he was like, oh, so you're just like gonna do Fat Thor? I'm like, no, Fat Thor was fun. This guy is not gonna be fun.
Fat Thor was playing PlayStation and like eating Taco Bell and stuff.
Yeah. And yelling at a kid over Fortnite.
Yeah.
But, it's just an idea for that. And I figured you're someone I know that is also very into world building. So I figured I'd throw some of these ideas at you, see what you think.
I am very interested in that. And I have lots of ideas about things, and I never act on them. But like one of the things similar thing is I do want to make a D&D campaign. I just gotta find the people to play it, and I gotta find the time to finish the world.
Well, you just let me know. I'm down.
Word. I gotta practice DMing first. So I'm gonna probably try to DM some one shots and see how that goes first.
Okay, that'd be good practice for me. Just playing.
One shots are dope because you either get it you're either just handed a character or you get to make a character really quickly, and hence the name. They're supposed to end in one session. Right. Sometimes they could go for like 3 to 4. But as opposed to like an entire D&D campaign, which could be years. So it just depends on what you're writing into the world. And then, there's pre-written worlds and there's pre-written campaigns, and like might end up using some of that maybe just to like help with the world. But then you've still got to create like what do you think you want them to do? And the tricky thing about DMing is your players can do whatever they want, so they may not do what you planned out. So you could have like 2 paths in front of you, and what's down each path, and like, let's just cut through the woods and we'll see what we can find. You're like, fuck. Like you didn't prep for that.
Or like if it's a character that has a gun and you don't take that into consideration, like, at all. He's like, I'm gonna just shoot him.
Yeah, can I shoot him?
You're like, this character was supposed to be like here for the long term. Shit.
Yeah, if he no joke. I was playing a campaign with some people, and one of our guys was like, I don't like him. I'm gonna slit his throat. I was like, what? And I was one of the players, and I was like, why? And so the DM was like, roll for an attack. See if you roll for a sneak attack. See if you can slit his throat without him noticing you're coming at him. And he got it.
Nailed him.
And he killed that guy. And like after the session, the DM was like, "That was a long-term character that you just killed." He's like, "So I have to throw out like 4 dungeons," and they were like, "Oh,
dang.
Yeah." So it was interesting.
I was scrolling on TikTok, I think it was last week, and it was from dang, what's the name of the big one with Matt Mercer?
Critical Role.
Critical Role.
I watched that.
I haven't gotten around to it.
And Petch watches it too, and she was like,
I know.
How far behind are you? I was like, like 5 or 6 episodes behind. She's like, what happened? I was like, well, life got busy. I started watching One Piece, and she's like, God damn it, Jose. She's like, he knows you're the only person I had to talk about this with. And I was like, well, it's not all his fault. I'm saving some of them for when I go out of town so I can like listen to them while I drive.
Yeah. I might start listening to them once I finish the One Piece one.
It is long.
Oh, the One Piece. I know it's long, but even the One Piece one is already in like the 20-something episodes.
Okay, so campaign 1 of Critical Role is 151 episodes.
Damn.
And they last minimum 3 hours. Some of them go to 5.
So I can maybe listen to 2 in a day. If that's all I do at work.
And campaign 2 just ended at episode 40 or maybe 41. And they run 3 to 5 hours as well. Although the last episode is 7 hours.
Damn.
Yeah.
I still think I'd be able to catch up faster than it took me to catch
One
up
Piece?
to One Piece.
Oh yeah, you can, because you can listen to them in a podcast, and you can.
Yeah.
You don't. It's fun to watch them because you see people's reactions and all that stuff, and you see like maps and stuff, and you're like, holy shit.
I was listening to him.
It's cool
on. Oh my god, I forgot the name of Philip DeFranco's podcast. But he had him on for his podcast, and he was talking about like his passion for D&D, and he was just doing these at home for fun. And then Felicia Day like invited him on, and some other people, and he was like,
so yeah,
people loved it.
Go ahead. Yeah, so the beginning of their campaign, so starting campaign 1 is very jarring because they start the episode and they're literally in the middle of an adventure. Like they don't start from scratch. So it was Matt Mercer, Laura Bailey, her husband Travis Willingham, which those two are big voice actors, and so is Matt Mercer. Spoiler alert, but it's not really because it's real life. Marisha Ray gets married to Matt Mercer like midway through campaign 1, I think, and so she's in it. So at the time, like when it starts, it's his girlfriend. And then there's another guy who's only in it for like 25 episodes. He leaves because he has some personal life issues. A guy named Taliesin Jaffe, Liam O'Brien, who as Gaara from
Naruto.
From Naruto, yeah. And Sam Riegel, he's in a lot of stuff. I'm trying to think of like what's the thing you might know him in the most. I'll have to look something up later. But anyway, they all play together. They're all voice actors, and they started this campaign basically as like a birthday present to Liam O'Brien. So Gaara, which by the way, he's like he's in a ton of stuff. He's half the time now. He spends most of his like professional career being a director, and he plays like small side characters now. So like you'll hear somebody who sounds just like Gaara in an anime. That's him. They started basically as a birthday present to him, and they would only be, due to everybody's busy schedules, they'd only get to play like once a month, if that. And because of that, they would basically only play on a Saturday where they could play for like 8-9 hours. And so they would all just come over, spend the entire day at Matt's house and play D&D. And so when Felicia Day
and cool.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly.
It's insane and cool. I wish I could play D&D for 8 hours. But they would do that, and then basically Felicia, like you said, Felicia Day approached them, and they're like, "Do you want to do this?" They're like, "Nobody's gonna want to watch this bullshit." And then they did it, and it exploded. Yeah. And so much so that they broke away from Nerdist. Like they're their own. Or first of all, it was Geek and Sundry, and then I think Nerdist bought Geek and Sundry, and they broke away from Nerdist to make their own company. And now like I said, they just finished campaign 2. They're about to start a spin-off campaign that's being DM'd by someone else. And that cast is
show.
Huh?
And they're working on a show.
Yeah, that was another thing. They had a big Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter was for one animated episode, and they wanted $75,000 to do that because animation is fucking expensive. Yeah, they got like 11 million, and so now they committed to 10 episodes, and so it was like 3 episodes of this one arc, and then 7 episodes of this arc. And while they were in the middle of making that, obviously COVID happened. But before that, Amazon picked the show up. Yeah. So they were doing basically just send the show out to campaign backers. They hadn't figured out how. But then Amazon basically saw how crazy awesome their campaign did and was like, we would like to air your show.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're still going to send basically like a VOD of season 1 to all campaign backers, which includes me, and and then season 2 is already approved and is going to be worked on as well. Actually, is already being worked on. They've already said that on Amazon, and so if season 1 and 2 do well, they might continue to do seasons on Amazon.
That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, and they have crazy amounts of merch and all kinds of other stuff, and like there's Funko Pops of some of their characters, and yeah, so there's a lot. And yeah, that
would be the next rabbit hole I go down, I guess. After some more mythology.
I honestly think you would love it. The first season is very much your classic, like these are the heroes fighting evil, and then like, well, not entirely. There's a couple characters that kind of like skirt the line of being shady, and especially Scanlan and Grog, basically a bard and a barbarian, and who the barbarian is only concerned with drinking and fucking.
Sounds about right.
And killing. Killing's important too. But and then the second season deals a lot with like gray areas. Like there's a lot of moral grays. So it was cool. I haven't finished campaign 2 yet though. But Patch has, and she's very upset with me for not finishing it.
So I'm gonna try to do 2 episodes a day unless they're like over 4 hours long.
She will be over the moon to hear that a third person will.
I can only imagine. Oh, where'd he go? And why did it switch me over?
Discord crashed.
Oh.
I'm back.
He's back. So he was gone for like, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds?
Yeah, it just went like Discord stopped working, shut down, I immediately clicked it and reopened it. Oh shit! Oh, sorry.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Drama. But yeah, it's fun. I highly recommend it. Now, here's the thing that I, Matt Mercer, and other DMs. I'm not a DM, but other DMs across the internet will tell you: don't ever expect your Dungeons and Dragons campaign to be like Critical Role. These are all professional actors and a guy who's been DMing for decades. Yeah. So don't expect if you join a game.
Life, I think, at this point.
Yeah, since he was in his early teens.
Yeah, exactly. That was what was really cool about that podcast. I might send that episode to you so you could listen to it. Yeah, do. But yeah, that's
he catches a lot of. Mercer catches a lot of shit online for like, they're like, oh, he's in everything. It's like, well, he's in everything because he's popular. So,
and he's good at it.
And he's good at it. He, like, honestly, I know when it's him in a voice acting role. That doesn't bother me like it does some people.
I mean, isn't he Sabo?
Is he Sabo?
I can't remember.
No, he's not Sabo. He's Law.
Oh, yeah, he's Law.
He's Law. And then, like, in Persona, he's Yusuke, and, like, he's in everything, dude. And so what? He's popular. Let the man get it, get the bag. So, and he's a nice person, so whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't, if I'm DMing a campaign after you start watching Critical Role, do not expect it to be like that.
Oh, no. I mean, not to, like, shit on what you're gonna try to do, but like
I haven't been doing it for decades.
Voice actors, like that. Yeah. That's just a
voice actors and just actors. A lot of them started out like Ashley Johnson is an actor. She was in The Blind Spot, that show that ran for like 6 seasons on NBC or whatever. Which is why, by the way, she's gone for most of campaign 1. So she comes in and out. So her character Pike comes in and out. And they have story reasons for why she's gone too.
At least they accommodate to that.
Yeah, they even have story reasons in campaign 2 while Travis and Laura are out because their baby was born.
Yeah, baby definitely more important.
Yep. Yes, it is. But anyway, I've talked about Critical Role too much.
No, I mean, it's fine. You know how I talk about One Piece?
Yeah, I mean, you and I are very obsessive people where if we like something, we could talk about, like, I saw a tweet the other day that was like, name 3 things. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, which is why we usually avoid big things. Like, I avoid World of Warcraft because I will fall into it.
I can't do MMOs. I've tried. Let me rephrase that. Let me back that up a few steps. I just hit the microphone. I can't do MMOs because I've never had a large group to play with online. And I've never been good at meeting people online. If we had a squad that played together in our server or like, you know, with Nerd901 or whatever, I'd probably sink way too much time into it.
Yeah.
Well, before I had a kid, that would be 100% true. Now it's like, well, I got this responsibility I got to take care of.
But
so it makes it a lot harder.
In my position, you'd be like, yeah.
Oh, dude, all over it. I mean, my gaming time, not to scare anybody out of fatherhood, but my gaming time went way down when I had a kid. Now, when he was real little, my Switch time went way up.
Well, yeah, because you could take that anywhere.
Yeah, so like if I was like holding him or something,
pause it.
Yeah, boop, sleep. Yeah, and it used to come with me to work every day, but now the kid likes to play video games, specifically Breath of the Wild, and so I have to leave it at home.
But you're making this face like you're kind of like mad about it, but deep down you're the happiest man alive.
I am mad / happy. I want my Switch because I have a lot of games that I want to play on my Switch. I am very happy that my child loves video games, especially Legend of Zelda Triforce.
Yes.
Zelda poster. Zelda thing. You can't see it. Link.
Can't see the tattoo, but
as I say, the very large tattoo across my back. Yes. So very happy that he's a Zelda fan. Love that he's a Zelda fan. He has watched the new trailer as many times as I have.
Has more screenshots.
Yes, has more theories. He's got stuff pinned on his bedroom wall. That and so that's why like I'm jonesing for a Switch Pro. And so like somebody asked me the other day, like, are you gonna trade in or sell your other Switch and buy the Switch Pro? I'm like, no, that Switch is becoming the kid's Switch. I'm getting the Switch Pro. I'm not sharing my Switch if I have two, or if I have the possibility to get a better one.
Second one, yeah,
a better one. That's a second one that is better. I'll keep that shit for myself.
Hell yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, and I'm not made of money or anything, but I'm not hurting either. That's what happens when you have a 2-income household. So,
I know. I know.
Sorry. Yet again, not trying to brag.
No, I know. But I mean,
because to be perfectly honest, if it weren't for my wife, I would be broke. When we got married, she was like, before we got married, obviously, we had been dating for forever, but she knew like I didn't have a savings account because I never saved money.
So, I'm gonna be honest, I don't. I should.
I didn't either.
Closest thing is my 401k.
I didn't even have that. Well, mainly because when we got married, no, I did have that, but I just started it because when we got married, I think I had been working at the zoo for a year, and the zoo was the first job I had that had a 401k. Yeah, obviously the garden center I worked at in high school and college did not have a 401k. Well, for me, it did for the one manager.
People. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, luckily I've been building mine for like the last 2 years. And honestly, I have like options for like stock, but I just haven't looked into it. I need to.
Yeah. I can adjust mine and like direct mine at specific stock, but I don't know that well enough to do that.
Me either. That's why I haven't messed with it. Because I think it's in, I forget the name of it, but where it goes into like a general one that usually does, even if it slowly go up.
Yeah.
It's like
no, I watched mine last night. Last year, I just stopped looking at mine because like pretty much everything mine went down last year, and I was like, well, let's just not look at that.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I'm in my 30s, so I'm not worried about that right now being a huge problem.
Which is probably why I'm less worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're in your 20s, so it's not as bad.
But, you know, almost.
You're still in there?
Yeah, I got, 2 more years?
Are you 28 this year?
No, 27.
Okay, so yeah, a little over 2 years then. Well, no, I guess in 3 years you'd be 30, so yeah.
Yeah.
Math.
I know. Fun. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I want to try to be an electrician because I'd have to go back to school and deal with algebra.
Like, real talk, I listened to some people that recommended I go back and get like a civil engineering construction associate's degree. That was the worst $10,000 I had ever spent. Because I haven't used that. I have the degree. I just haven't used it because the jobs that I did try to get, or like let me phrase that. Like, so I went for like 1 or 2 interviews for that job, like jobs related to that degree. And both times I walked out and was like, I don't want to work there.
Damn.
So, and like they were the only places that would like hire me because I had an associate's degree instead of a bachelor's in civil engineering construction. And so I was like, yeah, but I got 2 other bachelors. Well, in
yeah,
exactly.
Their eyes, they could pay you less.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to work at these places. And then I got the job at City Gear, and then I've been changing jobs since then. So, yup. But yeah,
at least you didn't work at a bowling alley.
I mean, I worked at a garden center. Not much better.
You probably had to deal with a lot less shitty people and drunk people than I did.
Well, drunk people, only a few. Shitty people, you would be surprised. There are a lot of shitty white people like their plants. I'm not joking.
I know.
People,
I can tell.
People would show up and be like, "Let me get 10 bags of mulch." I'm like, "All right, what's your car?" Because we would load their cars for them because that was like part of going to like the small garden centers. People load your cars and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, where's your car? And they're like, it's that BMW right there. I'm like, the fuck? What?
Why are you?
And they'd be like, yeah, like, make sure to put some plastic down. I don't want to get mulch or like water or anything all over the back of my. I'm like, then don't come in a fucking BMW. And like we put plastic down, and somebody would come back and be like, you got mulch in my trunk. I'm like, you came to a garden center. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
Like there was one lady that she yelled at one of my coworkers because her feet got wet. And she was wearing like leather or suede sandals or something like that. So like, lady, it is over 100 degrees and we have a huge place full of plants that we have to keep alive. They need water. So there is water everywhere. This is on you. I don't know what you want from us.
You're like, you didn't have to wear those suede sandals.
No, you didn't have to come straight from church, lady. Go home and change. So many people came straight from church and get upset that their like church clothes got messed up or whatever. It's like you came to a garden center. That's on you. Yeah, and people just being fucking rude for no reason because you're a service person. Like I've never been in it like a server or anything, so I've never had to deal with that shit. But I have worked retail and fuck people, just in general. And then like Christmas time is the worst.
Yes, it
to
is.
work in retail, because if you don't have
or any customer service,
any customer service, if you don't have what they're looking for their Christmas ideas, you personally ruined their Christmas. Not the company,
nope.
The person helping them. You ruined their Christmas, and it's your fault. And they take that shit out on you and get mad and yell. And it's like, why are you so shitty? Also, it's Christmas. Lighten up.
Yeah.
So
like the season you should be lightening up, you're like being extra shitty.
Yeah, and people are extra shitty about their Christmas trees too.
Yeah, or people showing up to bowl on Christmas Day. People actually do
Sorry,
that.
What?
People actually go to bowling alleys on Christmas Day, on Thanksgiving Day, because they're like, oh, well, we got the whole family here from out of town, and you're deciding to come bowling.
You want to go bowl? The hell is wrong with you?
When we have specials going on, quote unquote specials. No, we were jacking up prices.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
come for the bowling special. That's $54.99 for 4 people. That's a deal. Promise.
Yeah, when you could put 6 people on the lane, technically. Yeah, exactly. That's the.
No, we can put 4 people on the lane for the price of 6.
Yep. No, I'm glad I got out of there. Like, I moved up the ranks from like scrubbing toilets, cleaning around the building, to like eventually graphic design and arcade tech and manager. So I was like ordering toys and shit. That shit was kind of fun. I just like went through and I was like, hey, for 10,000 tickets. So the tickets, how they translated into actual prices was like, if something was 1,000 tickets, it was like a $5 item. And so just translate that like further up and up and up. No one can get anything worthwhile.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I need to find something that isn't just like a rip-off kind of brand that's like a Dollar Tree item and people are going to pay $10 worth of tickets. And I found Mario plushes that I could actually get for a good price. And they started selling really well. And then I got Pokemon plushes too. And it was right around Pokemon Go, like blowing up.
Yeah.
Everyone loved getting them. Especially because it was like, I know it was the first 3 starters, Pikachu, forget which other 3 starters. I think it was Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. Because that's how I got Turtwig.
Yeah.
I was just like, dang, people really getting scammed out here. And on top of that, you know those games where you can unlock the door for a prize if you beat the game?
Mm-hmm.
It's programmed to not let you win until the price of the item has been paid out with plays. Yes. So people would always come up to the counter like, hey, I beat the game, but it moved. And what am I supposed to say? It's a fucking casino for kids.
Yeah.
The house
I beat the game, but it
always
moved.
wins.
Well,
huh?
Yeah, I mean it's programmed for you to win. For the okay, the item was worth $50. I hope you're gonna pay $50 in games.
For like whole year, I lowered it to where like it would pay out the half of a prize item, but then still like people sucked at the game, so the one chance they had to win, they didn't. Yeah, it would just reset. So if you ever play any of those like stacking games that go back and forth and you have to stack the block, don't play it. No matter how good you are at accurately getting it to the top line every time,
you will not get the prize.
And it will literally skip over 2 blocks.
It'll just be like, boop.
Yep. And apparently that's like an error in the coding for those games. To like
Error.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the actual error being customers not supposed to see that. The jump over 2 blocks, the skip.
Yeah.
But they'll just not see that middle block or whatever it was supposed to line up with light up at all. It's like, oh, obviously this machine cheated me.
Yeah. It becomes very obvious that you've been cheated.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up.
Oh, yeah. And
that's why like people are like, oh, win something at Chuck E. Cheese. Like, you can't win shit at Chuck E. Cheese.
No.
What are you talking about?
Unless your best option was getting the finger trap.
Yes. Get stuck. Or like a bouncy ball.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
Or candy.
That's what I normally did. Everybody's like, why are you getting candy? I'm like, I can't afford any of this other stuff. Candy is at least I can eat.
I don't know the other stuff.
Yeah. I'm not going to use a bouncy ball. I'm 12. I don't give a shit about this. Give me the candy.
I thought you were gonna say I'm 30s. Like, come on.
No, I haven't been to Chuck E. Cheese probably since I was like 9.
So
I
think I had.
I had a friend who tried to go to a Chuck E. Cheese and he was not allowed in. So they're like, no, you can't. They're like, where's your minor? And he's like, I don't have one. I just wanted to go get some pizza and play some games. Like, no.
I almost worked at a Chuck E. Cheese. Did I ever tell you that?
Your life would become Friday, or what is it? Friday Night at Freddy's?
Oh yeah,
the animatronics coming to kill. Animatronics coming to kill you.
Is it Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah, I think it's Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, it's like the animatronics come alive and try to kill people.
So the arcade technician position did not list having to work with the animatronics. When I got there,
they're like, here's the animatronics.
Yeah, y'all have to do maintenance on the animatronics. And I was like,
nope.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I literally walked away. And then I got offered the job that I'm currently at. And I was like, work with terrifying animatronics or work with cameras. Cameras, please.
And not be customer facing.
True. Very true.
Man, if I can get out of support, whew. Now, granted, I'm not customer facing; I'm user facing. Yeah. Still, users are basically customers. They're all awful.
Yeah, I mean they are, because they're the ones that are using the product, and you're having to interact with them. So,
yeah, and they're stupid.
You're looking at a white page, and it made you ghost white.
I know. Hold on, wait. Let me see. Let me go to Wikipedia.
So, for those of you who don't know, Adam is pulling up pages on his on his monitor, and it's reflecting off of his face.
Oh, that's how I am. Like we said, I think were we live when I said I am objectively the palest person on Nerd901?
I think so.
I can't remember if we were live yet. I can't
remember because I was drunk.
I am the whitest person in Nerd901 from multiple senses of the word. Skin tone, I am the whitest because, all right, so Nick and I are brothers. People who are familiar with us know that. Nick, kind of tan. Me, not at all. Nick, can get really tan in the summer. I just turn red. I just burn. It's incredibly unfortunate. But yeah, I don't tan. I just get brown. Or sorry, not brown. Red. Maybe after several sunburns, it'll turn into a tan. But mostly it's sunburns. So I don't like being in the sun that much, obviously.
Understandable.
And as far as other terms with the word whitest person, I am the most unhip, uncool of all of Nerd901.
Lies.
I mean, I think so.
Also, keep in mind, you and I are the same person. So in my mind,
yeah, but you still have wait. Here. So yeah, but do you have what's the right word for it?
I'm not sure. What's the
I don't
idea
know.
you're trying to like head towards? Maybe I could like try to figure out the word.
An interesting, like, family
Interesting.
history? I don't know.
I mean,
Not just more white people is what I'm saying. So, I don't know. I'm boring.
Nah.
Yeah. That's why like people are like, oh, I've never heard of you. I'm like, oh, I know. No, I don't know. Oh, and like just like the coolness factor of like knowing like what's in and what's hit. No, not me.
I mean, I'm right
Sorry.
there though. I'm right there too.
Now I will say some of my jeans are now considered like in because they're like the loose fit jeans. And so they're like baggy at the legs, which is like the in thing now. And I was like, haha, I am automatically hip because I like loose clothing.
See, I didn't even know that because I don't even own jeans anymore. I haven't owned jeans in years.
They're my like long pants of choice.
They're heavy. I don't choose them because they're heavy.
They are heavy. I will say that. Actually, the pants that I've liked the most that I've had recently were like these. They like construction wise, they look.
You're right. We're talking about pants now.
We are talking about pants. Welcome to the Pants Podcast. Get out of your pants. No, but they're construction wise. They look like jeans, but they're just like gray fabric.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So those I like.
I do like those because my dad wore those.
Mine ripped
like carpenter, so it always had the little like hammer loop.
The little loop, yeah.
Yeah, and back then you could actually fit a cell phone into the like little side pocket.
Yeah, the little Nokia or whatever.
Yeah, now you can't fit shit.
No joke, when I was a kid, I would have like my parents would always buy me like cargo pants or like the carpenter jeans or whatever that have like the little loop or whatever. Yeah. And like when I was a kid, I would just like stick a toy sword in there and walk around the house.
Instead of at your hip, at your knee.
Yeah, it worked.
I mean,
so
he's like, gotta stay strapped.
Yeah, man. Goblin comes at you, you gotta take him down, man.
Yeah, you know, these goblins out in these streets, gotta take them down.
Speaking of goblins, so we've started reading chapter books to my son. Yeah. And so my wife is reading these like treehouse books or whatever that like these kids go on like little adventures or whatever. And she was like, what chapter book do you want to read him? I was like, I'm gonna read him The Hobbit. And she was like, you mean like the 300-page book with no pictures? And I was like, mm-hmm. And she was like, I don't know if he's gonna be into that. So I sat him down and I was like, Nolan, do you want to read a book that has dragons, goblins, trolls, dwarves, elves, and hobbits? And he's like, what's a hobbit? I was like, it's like a really short person with hairy feet. And he goes, it has all that other stuff in it? And I said, yeah. And he's like, what's an elf? I was like, it's like Link. And he was like, oh yeah, let's read it. I was like, it's got no pictures whatsoever. And he's like, so? I'm like, all right, cool. So like I've been reading The Hobbit to him for the past like 2 weeks.
How's he enjoying it?
He likes it. Now, like, I have to skip over any of like the singing and stuff like that, but I wasn't gonna do that anyway. And then, like, when they
have to sing it for him,
no, like one of the songs that's like kind of like important to the theme, I kind of like spoke, but like that's about it. The rest of it, like, you know, Tolkien is really bad about like describing a scenery for like 2 fucking pages instead of like 2 paragraphs. And so like I'll kind of like thumb ahead a little bit for some of that. I'm like, okay, still talking about the hills and how green they are. So let me skip ahead.
It's been a long time since I read The Hobbit.
The Hobbit's good. I like The Hobbit. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, and I've probably said this on other podcasts, I do not like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I think it is incredibly boring. It is a lot of fluff that could be cut out.
I did not read those.
I read
the movies.
I read The Fellowship of the Ring, the first book, and was like, that's okay. And like they cut out some stuff and changed some characters, and like like how in the movies where like for the hobbits they get their little swords and like Aragorn's just like, here, have some swords.
Yeah.
That's not how that happens. In the book they go into a barrow, which is like where like kings and stuff are buried, and it's like a haunted barrow, and they get them.
Just stole swords.
Yeah, but like they killed like a lich basically.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and their swords are like enchanted. They're like jeweled, enchanted little like short swords.
That sounds way more interesting than what we got.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so like when like in the last movie, when one of the hobbits and the woman are fighting the Witch King, who's like the head of the Nazgul or whatever, and like he cuts him and it like burns his leg, or like he cuts like the Witch King's like arm or leg.
Like
it's because the sword's fucking enchanted, not because it's like a hobbit power. Like no, it's an enchanted sword. So
the power of love.
Basically, all the main characters get like some sort of like special or enchanted weapon, or like some weapon that's like handed down through the family because it's special. Or something like that. Like Gandalf's sword is found in The Hobbit, and it's like a very old elvish sword.
Like a wizard. He's a fucking god.
He's a what?
He's basically a god.
He's an angel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a god, and like all the wizards are angels. It's like the way they're described, they're angels.
Yeah.
And they're immortal, and like it's. Yeah, like they're like, oh, it's just like an old wizard. No, he's a fucking angel.
Yeah.
He's an otherworldly being.
Like, that's why him and C.S. Lewis, I think, are among the, like, what was it? I think it's, like, best Christian writers that didn't, like, throw it all in your face.
Yeah.
Like, they made it.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I say Tolkien, when I say he's an angel, it's more of, like, if you're looking at like comparing it to a Christian hierarchy, C.S. Lewis purposely did allegory, while as opposed to Tolkien was just doing fantasy. But C.S. Lewis, it's a lot of like Christian allegory, but
Aslan is God. Is Jesus.
Aslan's Jesus. So it's like, hey, it's your Christ lion. But it's
this table is now broken.
How funny would it be, like, in the future, like, technology gets messed up, people don't see, like, what people used to believe, and then someone finds, like, a C.S. Lewis book and be like, this must have been Jesus. This lion must have been Jesus. So
one of God's angels inspired C.S. Lewis to write it down in his way. Jesus was
that would be funny.
Look at that mane. but they don't even find the like 2000s movie. They find the one from like the 80s. Because I actually saw that one in like 3rd grade, I think. I had a really cool teacher. His name was Mr. Gaeta. He read a lot about like different mythologies.
Mm-hmm.
And especially Greek mythology. And he introduced, like, I had already known about the game Age of Empires. But he was like, there's another one by them called Age of Mythology. Man, fell in love with that shit.
It was good.
Since then, like, I've had influence about, like, wanting to do stuff with, like, gods.
With gods. That'd be pretty cool. I speaking of, like, Greek mythology, I took a mythology class in college because I just needed another course.
Mm-hmm.
And it was taught by this kind of creepy old dude. But the class was interesting, and I got to read the Odyssey by Homer. And I haven't ever read the Iliad, which comes first. But the Odyssey legitimately was an interesting story to read. And people were like, I don't like. People are like, oh, that's a book for school. I'm like, nah, that's pretty cool.
No,
like a little book about gods and warriors and shit.
It's regarded as one of the like best adventure books.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
it's very good. Like when people were like, what did you think of the Odyssey? I'm like, I actually enjoyed it. So
that's why whenever I hear people compare One Piece to it, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, getting used to like how it's written and like the language that they use is a bit off, but you get used to it.
Take that into account, and the fact that it's even made it this far, considering so many other stories.
When was that shit written?
Exactly. You're about to look it up, huh?
Yes, I am.
But like, there's so many.
Okay, so the Odyssey was written. Scholars date the writing of the Odyssey to about 675 to 725 BCE. So, like, really long time ago. Like 2,700 years ago.
So just the fact that it's made it this far.
Look, good ass stories will survive, man.
Yep. And for like a long time, also stories kept changing because it was like telephone. It was only word of mouth. And then they finally were like, hey, let's write it down. And more than just a picture that someone might misinterpret.
Yeah, I wonder when if the Odyssey was told a bunch before it was written down. I'm sure it was.
Probably. But they probably kept the like ideas of certain things happening. Like, was it the Odyssey where... Or no, it was in both where they encountered the sirens, right?
That was in the Odyssey.
It was in the Odyssey?
Yeah, they encounter the sirens in the Odyssey. I don't know if they do in the Iliad, but I know they do in the Odyssey.
They are about to, or am I thinking Jason and the...
you might be thinking Jason the Argonauts.
Yeah. That's what it is. Because they like barely scrape by. They're like, oh yeah, we'll have... And when I was listening to something about that, they're like, oh yeah, we have our musician to play music louder than the sirens. I was like, please tell me this man looked like a skeleton and wanted to see someone's underwear.
I love how so I'm in Punk Hazard and the crew is, so okay, first of all, the One Piece crew is very notorious for what's called in D&D as splitting the party. Usually considered a really bad idea in D&D because that's often how you get a TPK, total party kill. Because the party is not there to support each other, so you either have a few here and a few there. The One Piece crew or the Straw Hat crew, real bad about splitting the party. That's how they always keep getting in bad situations.
Yes.
So, the shore landing party
he makes a third party.
Exactly. Yeah, because he didn't know where the hell he's going. No. And so the shore party this time is Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, and Robin. And so they go and they do their thing there. And then everybody in the ship gets knocked out by whoever the people are, and I guess antagonists are, via gas on Punk Hazard, and they get taken from the ship, and they just leave Brook there because they're like, oh, they must have killed this guy.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, shit. Why would they let him sit there and rot and turn to bones? They would have tossed his ass in the ocean. But their explanation was, oh, they must have killed this guy. Like, it's just a skeleton that's,
dang,
passed out.
My light keeps going back.
Have you noticed that my camera, if I move too much, my camera goes super blurry for a bit and then that fades back in?
Yeah, I've noticed. It's not too bad.
I guess I need to turn. I thought I had turned the autofocus off, but it probably changed or turned itself back on after an update.
It usually happens every time you restart the computer. Sadly,
their
software is
then I'm screwed.
Saving, when I was using mine, Logitech C920, right?
Yeah, I'm using a 922.
Basically same thing.
Yeah, same thing. This one can just do the green screen thing without actually having a green screen. Yeah, it sucks, but it can do it.
Well, if you have great lighting, most
if you have great lighting and your shirt isn't the same color as your chair. It works.
But so earlier I mentioned I had this question, and I did DM you and say, hey, I do have a bit of a deeper question.
Oh, this is the deeper question. Okay, what's up?
And so I was listening to a podcast and they brought it up because one of the guys saw it on a TikTok. Whether or not this is true, I don't know.
We had a deep question coming from a TikTok.
Yes.
Sorry.
But because of how they interpreted it, and they're like, if they weren't this thing, one of the guys was like, I think that's why I don't like people. Certain people.
That's typically my MO. I don't like a lot of people.
So when you are alone and you're thinking about doing something, do you have internal monologue?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So like me, I imagine you're like, oh yeah, I gotta do this. Like in a movie when they do internal dialogue, that is how I hear myself.
That's how my brain works. Yeah. No, I said there's no such thing as silence for me.
Same. Which is why I can't ever sleep easily.
So I'm normally like super tired, so I just pass out. But yeah, when I'm alone, I'm either actually talking out loud to myself or thinking in my head. And constantly going over like, well, what about this? And like, I'll go ahead and admit I'm notorious for running scenarios in my head of things that I'm like waiting on something to happen, or I need something to happen, or I'm working on something.
Multiple possibilities.
Yes.
One situation.
And how does this go? And like, and I usually, due to how my experience has colored my vision of the world, if it's dealing with other people, it normally is, what is the worst possible way this could go down? Because, no offense to anybody watching this podcast, and there are plenty, I say I don't like people. There are plenty of people I do like, but like my initial reaction to people, sight unseen, is I don't know you. What do you want from me? What are you trying to get from me? And that's just how my life has worked. And so that's how I view things. I am a naturally untrusting person, as opposed to my brother is a naturally trusting person. So, which is why we make a good team, because he will be like, this thing. And I'm like, what about this thing? And he's like, oh, well, let's do some research. And so like we'll do research on things. And so we make a good pair in that instance. And it's like, what about this opportunity? And I'm like, this. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Or, if he's like, what about this opportunity? Or what about this thing or this person? And I'm like, have you considered this? And he's like, yes. And here's the proof of this. And I'm like, all right, we're good to go then. So like, I'm very skeptical and cynical. Yeah. That's probably the best word for me, is I'm a very cynical person. And so, yeah, that's how I make cynical scenarios in my head. Yeah. And it often helps me personally, especially it doesn't sound like it would, but it often helps my vision of a person or a scenario or something like that. Or just my general mental health, because oftentimes if I'm doing something with you for the first time, or I'm encountering something with you for the first time, or we're working on something that we've never worked on before, I have thought, what could I do or this person do to really fuck this up? Or like what bad could happen in this situation? And 9 times out of 10, or maybe even 90 times out of 100, that doesn't happen. That's the same thing. 95 times out of 100, there we go. That doesn't happen. Normally, my interactions with people are positive and stuff like that, and so I'm good. And I usually get, I'm normally pleasantly surprised, and and feel good about a situation afterwards, which helps my mental well-being, because I wouldn't say I stress. I don't stress. I just make those scenarios, because
you get anxiety from your own projections.
How I'm going to act. Yeah.
Yes.
I get anxiety from how I'm going to act. I don't really have anxiety. I just very few situations make me anxious. But like case in point of when it can go bad. I'm not going to name names or companies or anything. Nerd901 tried to work with did work with somebody. It was a company, not somebody. We did work with a company. We set up a meeting with that company. They didn't show up. And so for me, it was me and Nick and Katie going to this meeting. Mm-hmm. They were far more understanding for a while, not forever. I was instantly like, okay, this deal's off. If you can't show up for a meeting, why should I work with you?
Yeah. And
granted, we ended up working with them, and for the most part, it was fine. But that and the poor communication that followed, as in like having to email and follow up like 3 or 4 times to get an answer about something, that right there showed me, okay, we worked with this company. The result was fine. Or the result was good. And we will never work with them again. So, yeah. I mean, it turned out fine. But the communication was poor from the rip. And I'll never work with that company again.
That's understandable.
Yeah. But like I said,
at least to me that is.
That's only, yeah. I mean, like to chase after somebody for 2 or 3 months to get an answer about something is ridiculous.
No.
So, especially something as simple as what we were working on. So, but like I said, I'm not going to talk about what it was or name names or anything because I don't want to like put people out. But that's only like 5% of the time. Like I said, most of the time it goes good. But to go back to the original question, yes, I do that all the time. And even not about bad things, just about good things of like, I'm up on some of the nights where we have not spent Saturday till 5 a.m. playing games, and I've taken a night for myself to just play games. I'm still up till 4 or 5 a.m. that Saturday. Yeah. I'm just playing a video game, watching TV, doing all kinds of different stuff, getting snacks, whatever. So I'm still up that whole time, but I'm by myself. And when I'm
to yourself,
yeah, exactly. When I'm playing Persona and trying to plan out how to get the different Persona combinations that I want to get, I'm talking out loud to myself and all that other stuff. And when I don't do it when I'm watching something because I'm engaged in what I'm watching, right. But yeah, if I'm in between tasks, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go downstairs. Let me get this something to drink.
The thing is, unless something triggers a specific thought, then you're like,
oh yeah, of course.
Hold up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've definitely spiraled like. Because it happened. It happens a lot with Ashton, and she knows me well enough. For those that are watching that don't know my wife, I'll pause it because I'm normally in control of that. And like we were watching Sweet Tooth last night, and which it starts off heavy, it gets a little better. And so I paused it, and I was like, this is happening and this are happening here, but this is happening here. And it's like, it's a weird timeline thing. And she was like, oh my God, I can see how that would work. Yeah, that makes sense. And then one thing happened and I was like, that they haven't said it yet, but that proves I'm right. And so like, I'll do that all the time, but I do that when I'm by myself too.
Yeah. So those are the experiences that I have that I enjoy about like having an internal monologue.
Yeah. Same.
The ones I hate are when I play out 20 different scenarios from this one moment in time, and I'm like, this decision that I make, if I say something, if I act a certain way, I think of 20 branches of like timelines, and I'm just like constantly creating my own anxiety, and I've been trying to stop that. But
I can see how that would be.
That's why I think my internal monologue does well with big story stuff because I can keep myself busy thinking about those things, aka like One Piece or something that's also a big narrative story, and I like to think like, okay, how would I do this? And stuff like that, which sometimes does end up leading me to being disappointed in something that I was expecting, but that's on me.
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
How do you think? So what the guy was saying was like, apparently in the comments, and what they were saying in the video was like 50% of people have an inner monologue, the other 50% don't. How do you think existing like that would be?
Really quiet.
It would be weird. Like
it would
they can imagine stuff, but they don't actually hear like the words. And I don't know how that would. I think so much in my head with like words.
Yeah,
and
same.
Even if it's like English or Spanish, because I think in both. Which I forget who I was talking with. They were like, "That's kind of weird."
No, that's how you can tell you're good at a language, or can get good at a language if you're not good at it. If you can think in that language, there you go.
Well, so like I forget who I asked, but they said they only think in Spanish, even though they like also speak really good English. I'm like, how do you not also think in English? But I grew up learning both at the same time, so
yep.
I don't know where
your development process was active during that time.
Yeah, like I straight up talk Spanglish to myself.
Yeah, and
then I don't even understand why, and sometimes I'll do it in a different character.
Oh, I do that. The voices play in my head.
Yes, and so as like a teenager, well, between teenager, I used to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Okay.
And that's the one where Jaden has a little Wing Karibo spirit that he would like talk to. And at some point, I took that for myself and was like, oh, this is what I'm talking to.
That's cool. Give some
But I could never tell anyone that because they would just think you're fucking crazy. you're talking to a little, what the fuck? But like now as an adult, I understand exactly what that was. You know?
Yeah, it was a personification of your inner monologue.
Yeah, and so
or at least a portion of your inner monologue.
So I can't imagine not having any inner dialogue.
I can't imagine that because, like I said, unless I'm sleeping, there's no silence in my life. I'm always thinking, and even if even something mundane is like, doing tasks for work, like I'm sitting there thinking like, while I need to do that, and like I'm not even talking to myself. This is just in my head, but it's like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, and let me put this here. And let me write this note here. And like those thoughts are going in my head and telling me what to do while I'm doing it. So yeah, it's like that would be really weird to not have that. To just be like crickets in your head.
Yeah. Like it reminds me, have you seen Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
So you remember when Ben goes to work with Aubrey Plaza's character somewhere? And she notices the politician they're working for is basically a robot. Like he's in the other room, and when no one's talking to him, he's just like there in the chair, like. Yeah, exactly. For those of you who aren't watching, we both just completely froze and stared like forward.
He's staring, and they think that there's like maybe there's a TV or something on the back of his door or like on the wall behind his door, and look in there. Oh no, he's just sitting in there, being a robot, being a lizard person. So yeah, that must be how that's like, where it's just like silence all the time.
It's either that or they just imagine the whole scenario without any words.
Yeah.
But I feel like the words are what fill out the details for me. Because I can imagine stuff too playing out. right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's detailed with the words. Like, it's going along with it. I don't know. Maybe I just think in, like, comic book manga.
Yeah, it's like thinking in comic book thought bubble or speaking bubbles or thought bubbles. Yeah.
It's the only, like, medium that really uses both like that.
Maya and the Three. Sorry. You might be interested in this. You always get excited when there's representation for Hispanic things.
Oh, are you talking about the one from Netflix?
Yeah, Maya and the Three.
Yeah.
I just saw the thing. It looks cool.
So I think it's the same studio that worked, or it might just be one of the producers that also worked on the Book of Life.
Yeah, that's what it says. From the mind of the Book of Life director.
Yep.
What's his name? Jorge Gutierrez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Maya and the Three. Sorry, I just scrolled past on Twitter. I wasn't trying to derail it, but from a warrior princess on an epic quest to save humanity from vengeful gods of the underworld. Hey, look, more gods.
Yep.
But sorry. I saw that and was like, oh, this is cool.
No, but
Anyway.
that was pretty much like that deeper question, because I listened to that today, and they were talking about how the one guy was saying, I don't know if I can be friends with someone who doesn't have an inner dialogue.
I need to ask that question of like all my friends now. I'd be like, do you have an inner dialogue?
Start doing every podcast.
Like, do you have an inner dialogue? Oh yeah. Like so you have basically it said like 50% of people. Is that right?
50% of people. And how the guy kind of confirmed it was going through the comments, and people were like, "You guys think with words?"
Yeah,
voices. I'm like, what?
I think with words. I think with words and images, though. Like,
yeah.
When I'm trying to be creative, it's images.
Well, my light just fell.
I see that. Yeah.
Yep.
It got real dark.
Oh, and I kicked the shit out of the desk.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
Well, I kicked it after. All right. I just didn't keep an eye on it, and it finally fell. Other times I was fixing it. But yeah, if anyone in chat has questions, feel free to drop them now, and we'll try to go through some of them and then wrap up. But yeah, the inner dialogue thing, I'm gonna keep listening to that podcast, see how they.
Oh, what podcast was that?
It's called No Chaser. Also, you froze.
I was gonna say my camera froze. Boop.
Boom, he's back.
And there we are. That was weird.
I don't know.
I was saying my internet didn't go out because I could still hear you, so I knew that wasn't it.
You know, I still heard you. I just couldn't see your image move.
Yeah, that was weird.
Besides Breath of the Wild, what was the biggest thing you were excited about from E3?
So just from having dipped a toe into the Soulsborne world with a little bit of Bloodborne that I played, Elden Ring looked pretty cool. And the fact that it's 4 players is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Aside, I mean, you know me, so Breath of the Wild is my favorite one there.
Yeah. Not that.
I know. Let me see. I'm trying to think. I'm not a huge Metroid fan, but Metroid looked pretty cool. Honestly, I am a huge Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom battle fan. That game has no business being as good as it was, and it was fantastic, so I'm super excited for a sequel. That is a very white page.
It is.
Let me...
So I caught that game on a sale, I think for like $15 with like the deluxe version or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I got it, and I haven't played it yet because I just finished Odyssey. I was like, I think I need more Mario.
It's an easy, quick play game because the matches aren't very long, and you can like play a match and then put it down, or you can play a battle and play it and put it down. Some of them get kind of long, especially boss fights, but it's good there. Starfield getting a release date was neat. It's exactly 11 years from the launch of Skyrim, which was their last game that I really loved from Bethesda. Because Fallout 4 has come out since then, and I didn't love Fallout 4. To me, Fallout 4 was just more Fallout 3, and plus building settlements, which I hated. I thought the settlement building sucked, so that didn't excite me. Guardians of the Galaxy was neat. It was really fun. It looks okay. I'm glad it's single player. I'm happy for that. No care in the world about the Avatar game.
Me either. It looks gorgeous. Honestly, it does. But I do not care for it.
Yeah.
Just like I did not care for the movie.
The Smash Bros. Character Kazuya getting revealed. It was a cool trailer, but like, I like Smash. I'm no good at Smash. And so far, the new character pack has given me 0 reasons to buy it. Halo Infinite looks neat. I'm a casual Halo fan. Yeah, it looks way better. I'm a casual Halo fan, and that like I've liked some of the Halos. I usually play them for their single player campaigns because, to me, no, this is not shade at FPS games at all. This is just my taste. Single player FPS campaigns are one of my favorite palate cleansers between big games because the campaigns are short. They're lots of action, and they're usually pretty fun. Yeah, they're not deep. Like, Titanfall 2's campaign, amazing. There are several other single player shooters that I played. Doom 2016 was really fun, although it was longer. I haven't finished Doom Eternal, but those single player FPS games, those can be really fun to me as palate cleansers between big JRPGs or big adventure games, or action adventure games, whatever. So the Dishonored, some of the Dishonored devs are making, or it is the Dishonored devs, it's Arcane Studios, is making Redfall. We'll have to watch that trailer in a minute. That game looks pretty cool.
I've heard a lot of hype for that game. Like positive hype.
I mean, Outer Worlds 2 basically just got announced. They didn't show anything.
Play the first one, even though I know it's on Game Pass.
I like Obsidian. Obsidian is one of my favorite developers. I gave Outer Worlds about 10 or 15 hours. It did not grab me, and I put it down. Sea of Thieves is getting a Pirates of the Caribbean crossover. Good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
it's on Game Pass, so some of us may end up playing it. Yeah, Rare's not doing anything else. Contraband, don't even know really what that is. There were a bunch of flight sims. Game Pass is getting ridiculous. I was very excited to see that Yakuza Like a Dragon came to Game Pass, so I didn't have to buy it. Babylon's Falls getting some new stuff. Oh yeah, with all the others being there, yeah. Riders Republic, but that wasn't really an announcement. What else do we got?
Let me see. Tankun asked, when do I plan to have an average podcast? I don't.
Well, we're never doing average. WarioWare looks fun.
Hopefully the most average thing about it will be that it's a weekly thing. Hopefully. I've been decent about it for 3 weeks now, so I'm happy about that. Yeah.
The Final Fantasy, like Soulsborne game, Final Fantasy Origins, looks terrible. We'll watch that one. It looks bad.
Yeah.
It's like the dialogue is laughably bad.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not great. Far Cry 6 got a new trailer, whatever. Although this is the first Far Cry I've been interested in a long time.
Is it because of Giancarlo Esposito?
Yes, 100%. Trek to Yomi is a Devolver Digital game that's right up my alley. It's like a 2D samurai game. It's black and white. Sable is a game that I've been up on for a long time, and there's a demo that I installed while we were doing this podcast.
Damn.
like I said, Elden Ring. There's a Death Stranding director's cut. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands looks kind of neat to me. It's basically
like a dragon, right?
Yeah, it's basically like bring Borderlands, but it's Borderlands but D&D. So it's like swords and magic and shit. I think it's same as normal Borderlands. Yeah, there was more stuff. I'm trying to find the indie stuff because like as far as the big stuff,
what's more interesting besides like the Nintendo stuff.
The big stuff we've pretty much covered. Let me look at the Guerrilla Collective because their stream usually is pretty good.
I think I'm gonna wrap for the podcast and we can keep talking about this. That way I can also take a little deco outside. By the way, this week he started his heartworm treatment. So
how's he doing with that? And I remember you telling us with that.
He's doing good. So I took him Saturday to see if he was able to start, and they were like, "Yeah, he's good." And Monday morning, I dropped him off, and I picked him up, and we both knocked out once we got home, and I let him outside. We came back up to the room. He got on the couch. I got on the bed.
How long is the treatment?
So he has a shot. The shot he just got, he gets another one in a month, and then by December he should be good, or December, January.
Okay. Yeah, I know the treatment is not easy on dogs.
Yeah, no. My dad's dog had to go through it, and he has to stay super, super chill. So I'm limiting his interaction with our other dog.
With Ozzy?
Kind of sucks, yeah. Because they together they're both high energy, and hopefully once everything with the heartworms is good, we'll be able to get surgery on his leg so he can get that cruciate tear fixed, and he can go back to running full speed. He's all healed up. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that for anyone who might have been wondering. But thank you all for watching and listening. Adam, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at got distracted there. At Nerd901Adam on Twitter. You can also find me on Twitch. Really all of Nerd901 on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nerd901. Those are my two main hangouts. That's where you can find me.
Hell yeah. And you can find me now actually on YouTube because I'm posting on YouTube. I'm posting the podcast once a week. You can find that youtube.com/NSAJose or just type in NSA Jose. Should be the first thing that pops up. You can also find me on Twitter at NSA Jose. Twitch, same thing, NSA Jose. Right now for the month of June, just doing the podcast once a week. Going into July, plan on actually playing some games again on stream. I have some games that I've been wanting to play, and I think now is the time because they're not super huge anymore, and not everyone's playing it. So I'm less likely to get spoiled, I think. I also feel like playing Moonlighter again on stream, just for the hell of it.
God, Moonlighter is such a good game.
It is. But with that said, this has been the NotSoAvg Podcast. Thank you for watching, listening. Until next time, have a good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world. Adios.
Peace out.